Hey guys, just wanted to provide an update on the coronavirus situation here in Japan. This video, like every other coronavirus video on the internet, is not going to be monetized as much as I really want it to because I need the money. But I mean, here in Japan, it's I feel like it's kind of waning off a bit. Now the reported numbers are still coming in, and it's hard to tell what the true numbers are because Japan is only testing people with symptoms. 3 weeks ago, here in Japan, around the 26th and 27th, that's when I call it the Go Day. That's when that happened. The Go Day in America being March 11th and 12th. Most of the infections are concentrated around three regions. One is the Hokkaido area, which has the most cases, and then the Kansai area, which has two clusters related to nightclubs and live houses in the Kansai area, and then there's another cluster in Nagoya area. Yeah, basically, okay, so according to Wikipedia, and this is actually being data sourced from the World Health Organization, as of the 16th, we have 814 confirmed cases and 24 deaths, and that number could be very, very high, though, due to the fact that a number of people were not tested, and due to the nature of this disease being one that normally doesn't show its symptoms. I mean, right now it's also Kafunsho season, which is, hay fever season, and flu season in Japan. So people who have the flu may have also had the coronavirus and then recovered from it, So it really is hard to tell the actual number of people who were affected here, but at the same time, I feel like it's starting to wane off a little bit. We're approaching the top of the bell curve, and we're going to start going down very soon. Over the weekend here in Japan, the number of people who are out and about was astoundingly high. I saw it was really crowded in Harajuku compared to last weekend. And even today, I'll show you this clip I filmed earlier. This was around my office. There were so many people out and about during lunchtime here. The stations were crowded. There wasn't any sort of social distancing going on at all. So for the most part, I feel like Japanese people are starting to kind of go back to normal. I mean, last week, on Friday, I saw the restocking of toilet paper and lots of toilet paper. And the only thing I haven't really seen that much restocked is masks. So, I mean, if you need a mask, it might be hard to find here. For the most part, though, events are starting to go back to normal. There was a request that the hanamis and stuff get canceled, but I mean, I talked to an epidemiologist, and I talked to a number of people who are professionals in this sort of stuff. And while a number of the organizers who do help out with the Hanami, the YouTube Tokyo Hanami in particular, they backed out of the organization for financial or liability reasons, I basically got the go-ahead to continue holding the Hanami in 3 weeks' time. So March 28th, I mean, hopefully a lot of places are going to reopen and go back to normal around the end of March from the looks of it. Currently, they did pass a number of legislative reforms here. It passed on the 13th, but there's been no actions that have taken place. Basically, it's been quiet here for the last few days. So as America starts going into its phase of the coronavirus, here in Japan, it's gone quiet. So what I think is going to happen is by May, everything will be completely back to normal. But right now, this has actually been more of an economic thing here in Japan than anything else. A number of my friends who are in the entrepreneurial world here in Japan, they've lost their jobs, and it's been kind of tough. Like, it's been tough for me. It's been very tough for me. I had 5 projects. Sorry, that was my Facebook one. I've had 5 projects set up for this month alone, on top of the YouTube Hanami, as well as a couple of members at the studio. One member dropped out because of financial reasons. And then all the other projects got canceled or postponed. Although we did have someone randomly scheduled to use the studio yesterday, or on Sunday rather, which was, any amount of money helps right now. I've gone to a bare bones planning for the YouTube Hanami personally, in terms of my organization of the event. Basically, I'm only bringing the tarp, and if people want to bring their own drinks and stuff like that, that's on them, because I don't have any other way of providing any more materials, unlike years past. But I'm not really expecting the Hanami to be a huge event like it was last year because of that fact. People have told me they are trying to find flights over here, and there's been a number of people who have said that even though they're from America, where they're getting the effects of the disease right now, they're still trying to get their way over here. And I just gotta say, at this point, do that at your own risk. I mean, I can't be held liable for you trying to figure out a way to get through the increasingly depleted number of flights that are coming out of the States currently. What I expect to see as well is a number of travel bans between Japan and Washington State in particular, where the virus is being concentrated in America. But I haven't seen anything yet. I'll let you guys know if I do see anything. The person you guys probably should follow the most for news, credible news at least, is Yuri Kageyama. She's a AP journalist, and she's actually helped me out with a couple of projects. One of them is a list of airlines and air traffic affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. That is from my aviation blog, which I never talk about because I rarely ever update it, but I really should. This list has as many airlines as I could possibly think of that have been, major airlines like, American, Delta, United, Emirates, Air France, British Airways, KLM. They also, these, I'll show you just on my computer here. These things will show you, each of the sources that I use to figure out all the information. In particular, like, Emirates is Dubai is shutting down all visa entries. So people flying on Emirates cannot land in the United Arab Emirates, for example. Delta's only going to operate like 6 flights to the EU after today. All China flights are canceled until May 31st, for example. Yeah, basically, most international flights on American Airlines are also suspended except for DFW and Miami to London Heathrow, as well as DFW to Narita. Here in Japan, though, that's all America-related stuff, right? Here in Japan, I feel like life is slowly going back to normal. I got a box in the mail the other day from my parents. They sent me some supplies just in case there was, the worst-case scenario here in Tokyo, but I feel like my parents need that box right now of, easy-to-eat food, easy-to-cook stuff, non-perishables and stuff like that. I feel like they need that more than anybody else does right now. The weird thing about Japan is the lack of testing. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, is basically they decided to test people who have contact with someone who's got a known virus. So if someone is diagnosed with the COVID-19, they will tell who's been around them. So that's why they were able to catch all those people who have the virus in Osaka from that nightclub, right? And also that big cluster of viruses in Hokkaido was actually directly related to travel from Wuhan into Hokkaido, and that's been a rather known thing for the better part of the month right now, that it came from travelers from Wuhan, Chinese tourists from Wuhan who were in the touristy parts of Hokkaido, and then they ended up spreading it there. But at the same time, I haven't really noticed that much of after the initial panic, of course, the go day, like I said earlier, I haven't really noticed that much panic, just kind of frustration, people worried about the economy, people worried about their travel plans. Personally, myself, I'm flying back in May. Hopefully I'm flying back in May, right? Yeah, there's one guy in particular that I know who's lost their job, and they're going to end up losing their visa as well. This is really bad for the economy. If you're planning on doing jet here in the future, I would probably reconsider right now, because the labor conditions related to this situation for ALTs especially is really bad. If you can find it in English, if you really are interested in doing English teaching abroad, I would look for another place, and I would wait for all this stuff to die down. I would look for something temporarily in your town first before coming over here, because this probably wouldn't be a good idea to come over here, as the economy is probably going to have a major downturn here in Tokyo, as it will globally, as more and more people are trying to find jobs. The once blown wide open job market here in Tokyo is probably going to slam shut. So I don't know what's going to happen. As for me personally, I am okay for now. I'm worried about here at Ginza Hub. I'm filming this upstairs at Ginza Hub. I'm the only person here. The other main client, that's one of the companies that collapsed. One of the main companies that uses Ginza Hub, and they rent out a number of tables here. That company is collapsing and most likely won't be here. So if Ginza Hub goes away, I have to figure out what I'm doing with the studio, even if I'm able to pay for and continue operating the studio downstairs. I've got a client right now. I'm actually a prospective client. I just noticed I got an email from him right now, literally right now. They are considering using the Ginza studio for a TV series. We're working through the details right now. If that works out, I'm in good shape. Worst case scenario, I end up back in the States and my YouTube channel has to be rebranded or whatever, right? That's the worst case scenario, is I end up going back to America. But, what I worry about personally, I know this is a video supposed to be about the situation here in Japan, but, I'm here. I might as well give you my update, right? What I'm worried about personally is what I'm going to do for work if I ever go back to the States. Or where I'm even going to be able to work, right? I'm not sure if I'll be able to find a job in Ohio from my resume, right? So I would have to probably figure out a place that has a heavy Japanese population, but I don't want to move to Hawaii or California. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too picky as well, right? Anyway, if you guys want the latest information, like I said, I would follow Yuri Kageyama. Sorry, I just completely butchered her name. I would follow her on Twitter. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a hay fever. Follow this blog the Skyzak blog, for updates to the airlines. And if you are planning on flying for the Hanami or any time for this sort of thing, keep a very close eye on, not just the CDC's travel thing, but Japan's travel advisories as well. Airlines will post those information as well. If you are affected, if your flight is canceled, they will most likely contact you, but I would contact them right now if you are traveling within the next few weeks to the next month or two, because this is really weird times that we're living in. So that's all I got to say right now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all later.